Hi, my name is Dominic Dold with Coog Cinema Reviews, and today I'm going to be reviewing Avengers EndGame. Long story short, this last Avengers film is pretty good. Not great, not spectacular, and not revolutionary in any way, but it is pretty good. However, since delving into specifically what I liked and didn't like primarily revolves around spoilers, I'm instead going to focus on how EndGame works as a conclusion to the past decade of buildup in the MCU. Now, it's easy for me at least to feel disinterested towards Marvel movies most of the time. Despite growing up with them, they haven't aged all that gracefully and tend to be bland yet enjoyable? Kinda like oatmeal, where some are better than others. Like Spider-Man Homecoming, for example, can be compared to brown sugar cinnamon, while Thor the Dark World is like strawberries and cream because it made me sick to my stomach. However, what the MCU has done over the past 10 years is actually fairly ambitious and experimental, as no one has tried to make a series of movies this connected and interlinked before. Much like the comics that they're based on, the sum of these movies is much greater than their individual parts. As a result, EndGame has a lot of pressure riding on its shoulders to stick the landing, functioning more as the final issue of a comic book arc than a standalone film. Judging it on its own merits is difficult, considering how important everything that came before it is to its success. Thankfully, I'm happy to report that Anthony and Joe Russo have crafted a finale that will be satisfying to practically every diehard Marvel fan out there, giving much needed and much sought after payoff to all of the threads that have been set up over the past decade. But for people like me, who are largely apathetic to the MCU, there will be large, glaring issues in its storytelling and the presentation of its final act. Since I'm sticking to my promise of remaining spoiler-free for this review, let's just say that there's a specific subject that the plot of this film revolves around that is an immensely slippery slope. I'm a sucker for this genre of sci-fi, and it was disheartening to me to see all logic regarding this subject thrown out of the window. Considering how messy it would be, they don't even try to have it make any sense, establishing early on that their foray into this subject won't be like this movie or that movie, without offering another solution to the issues that this subject presents. Additionally, the action is a remarkably mixed bag. Some scenes are satisfying one-shot sequences of fluid, fun, fast action, whereas some scenes are interspersed with so many quick cuts and so much CG dust that I was dealing with more whiplash than Tony Stark in Iron Man 2. It didn't help that the more jarring scenes featured way too many moving parts to feel cohesive in any way. The emotional beats in this film are well presented, but one of them in particular makes no sense whatsoever and feels like a cheap way to tug at the audience's heartstrings because, hey, why not? It's the last movie. That being said, though, the first and second act of this film are incredibly entertaining to watch, as it focuses primarily on the interactions between these characters that we've all grown to know and love over the years, especially as they grapple with the trauma and fallout from Infinity War's conclusion. The strength of these heroes' personalities and how they can conflict with one another has always been one of the strongest aspects of the MCU, and I'm glad to see them capitalize on it in this film. Plus, the actors all seem like they're having a blast, giving one last hurrah to a role they deeply care for before hanging up their costumes and retiring for good. Although the movie is well-paced, though, it's difficult not to feel the length of it. 3 hours is a lot for any film, no matter how entertaining it is. Overall, though, despite my issues with the direction of the plot and some of the technical aspects of this film, this is a satisfying conclusion to this series. If you're a fan, you're going to love this. Me, however, I'm feeling around a 6 out of 10 for my final verdict. So what did you guys think of EndGame? Be sure to let us know in the comments section below, and also—
Wait a minute, we are not done. You want to watch the spoiler talk? Be sure to tune in next week to Coog TV's YouTube and Facebook page.
See you soon!